We'll move on down here to item 2, approval of the agenda, changes to agenda, and approval of agenda. And we do have one change on consent agenda, added item 8.25, budget amendment to the grant award agreement between Triumph Gulf Coast Incorporated and the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida, to develop artificial intelligence machine learning institutes to begin in 2022-2023 school year. And this was previously approved by the school board on July 26, 2021. Now we'll move down to section 3, and we do have some recognitions. Monday night, 3.1 will be the recognition of Niceville High School Eaglettes Dance Team State Champions 2022 Universal Dance Association Florida Championship Small Varsity Hip Hop Division and Small Varsity Jazz Division. And this seems to be a yearly thing with our Niceville High School dance team, so I know they're really excited. How many years in a row is this now?
It's a number of years in a row,
Yeah.
but I think it's also indicative just of the cheer and dance programs across Okaloosa.
Yes.
Yes. And item 4 is visitors. We have nobody on the agenda. Item 5 is administrative personnel appointments. 5.1, appointment of assistant principal 2, 12-month Shoal River Middle School. And I know before Monday night we'll have that named to us. 6 will be public comment. 6.1, members of the public desiring to address the school board form MIS 5241, public input and/or discussion of agenda items. And as always, we never know until Monday night who is here to speak. Item 7, committee and staff reports. 7.1, in-county travel paid for the period of January 27th through February 9th, 2022. And 7.2 is out-of-county travel paid for the period of January 27th through February 9th, 2022. Thank God we didn't have our meeting on Tuesday when it was 2-2-2-2-2. All right, so we'll move to section 8, consent agenda. And school board members, just stop me anytime you want on any item. 8.1, approval would be approval of the consent agenda. 8.2, approval of the minutes of the workshop meeting of February 10th, 2022. Minutes of regular meeting of February 14th, 2022. 8.3, appropriation of District 2 school board member capital outlay funds to Fort Walton Beach High School for stadium speaker upgrade in the amount of $4,931.68 presented by Ms. Marty Gardner. 8.4, request to advertise a public hearing for revision of School Board Policy 08-07, requirements for instructional personnel, and this will be presented by Dr. Lee Hale. And 8.5, budget amendment number 5, fiscal year 2021 through 2022, presented by our wonderful interim Chief Financial Officer, if I can say that all there, Ms. Julie Perry. And 8.6, monthly financial statement for January 2022. 8.7, invoices to be approved for payment. 8.8, school donations. And Mr. Chambers, if I can comment on this, the other day I was talking to a parent, and they were just talking about how much they appreciate that because their children are in sports up in Crestview. And they were just talking about how much they appreciate the community support. And I was telling them that every school board meeting we have a section on there that recognizes all those community involved people in the community that donate to our schools, whether it be through athletics, academics, or the arts. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and we always appreciate our community support. 8.9, payroll warrant register and accounts payable warrant register for January 2022, totaling $22,095,970.68, and bank transfers for January 2022 totaling $85,000. 8.10, renewal of cooperative purchasing agreement for online auction services. 8.11, interlocal agreement, Region 8 Education Service Center. 8.12, facility use over $5,000, Cross Point United Methodist Church. 8.13, ITB 22-11, two-way portable radios, MIS IT. 8.14, ITB 22-12, fuel, gasoline, and diesel. 8.15 tag on bid RFP 096-21-KM municipal vehicles, cars, vans, SUVs, and light trucks. 8.16 tag on bid purchase over $25,000 Beck Auto Sales. 8.17 tag on bid purchase over $25,000 Howard Technology. 8.18 service agreement number 22-100 Wayne Whitman. 8.19 service agreement number 22-101 Zach Lewis. And 8.20 sale and disposal of surplus property. 8.21 research agreement between the School Board of Okaloosa County and the University of Florida to provide State of Florida curriculum frameworks for a new artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning high school program. And this is by Miss April Branscombe, who we truly appreciate all the hard work that she and her team put into our CTE programs that are really flourishing and getting recognized statewide and even nationally. So thank you, Ms. Branscombe.
And can I stop you to ask April to come up and share this? Like was said, this is so exciting. I know we have an individual from the media that watches our school board meetings and always shares such positive news out in our community. So I really would like our community to hear more about this.
Well, we're really excited
Yes.
because Mr. Chambers has a passion for CTE and for moving forward in technology and innovative things. And so this was Mr. Chambers' is wonderful idea. Just let's bring something different into our community, something that's not being done anywhere else in the state. And if it is being done in the nation, we're not aware of it. We want to be the first. So we are working with the University of Florida to have them create some state curriculum frameworks. Right now at the state level, there are no frameworks for us to be able to teach this type of innovativeness in our classrooms. So we have to start somewhere. So we're partnering with the University of Florida to create this curriculum that we can bring into our classrooms. Now we're starting the actual program next year, and we're doing it in all of our middle schools, or 8 of our middle schools, and then the Choctawhatchee High School is going to be our high school that we're bringing it into. And we're going to be teaching them all about AI, data science, and machine learning, which we all know when you have a smartphone, you're using AI every day, and we don't even realize it. But our students are excited about this program. We've got a lot of interest in it, and we really feel like this is going to bring an innovative aspect to our classrooms, and working with the University of Florida is going to give us some mileage with that. And they're coming in this summer, actually in the May, to train our teachers. So we're get top-notch training from from the University of Florida. So we're really excited about that. And the parents that we've talked to about this program are really looking forward to this for their students. It's going to be challenging, it's going to be rigorous, but we feel like this is the direction we need to be going with our programs, all of our CTE programs.
Do you want to share about the Fort Walton Beach Hospital, or not now? Or?
Well, I have that on here. I'm happy to share that. It's one of our bullet points, but it's 8.22.
Well, you're on for the next couple of items, so go ahead and tell us all the good things
All
that are
right.
going
Well,
on.
before
Yes,
I
just
say
rolls right
that,
into that's-
I want to share something that I just got this morning from a teacher at Crestview High School, Emily Willoughby. Emily is our practical nursing teacher, and when I got this email, I was about in tears because it's so exciting. So Emily's practical nursing, and she had a student that was in Winn-Dixie yesterday afternoon, and a lady in the checkout line, an elderly lady, just passed out. And Emily was right there, and she's a practical nursing, Emily's student, Bethany Touchton, was right there and saw what happened, and she was able to go over, get the woman situated, lay her down her side, and basically save her life. And
Wow.
the
Gives me
lady,
chills.
doesn't it give you chills?
Yes.
The lady is so thankful, and she contacted Bethany and said, "Thank you for saving my life." So that kind of a segue into the next thing that I'm going to share with you. We are looking to partner with Triumph again. Of course, Triumph is working with us on the previous AI program. But what we're wanting to do, not only will we partner with Triumph, I've been working with Fort Walton Beach Medical Center for about a year. Started out with us meeting about interns. And as we talked, I had the CEO, the director of nursing, and their community outreach person there. And I said, have you guys ever thought about starting a program on your campus? What if we were to start a medical program on your campus and that our students would have access to your doctors, to your nurses, to your CNAs, to your phlebotomists, everything, your patients? And so they were like, that's unique. Has anybody ever done this? I'm like, not that I know of. I don't know, but let's think out of the side of the box. And so a year later, we are working with Foote Walton Beach Medical Center. They're still in the process of all the legalese piece of it, but they have a building that they're going to give us a quarter of the building to offer a multi-school program. Choctaw, Foote Walton, and Niceville could come together at their facility that they would provide for us. We would have paid nothing for it, and we would have our students come there, and they would have access to all of the technology and the hospital, and just it's within walking distance of the hospital. Mr. Chambers and Mr. Horton and some other folks from CTE, we were able to tour the facility. It's the old Jacobs building in Foote Walton. It's a pretty amazing place, so we're excited about that. And so we're wanting to partner with Triumph to help us renovate the building and buy some equipment and get it ready for the fall. So we're looking to start that. And I can tell you, last night I was at Conquest at Foote Walton Beach High School, and so many students there that were there either graduating this year or just graduated. Everybody, the parents especially, I wish they had those programs when I was in school. But I had one young lady that's a senior this year in our biomedical sciences program, and she's wanting to go to nursing. And I'm sorry, I'm long-winded,
No,
but I get
no,
excited about this
no,
stuff.
please do.
It's so cool. She said, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're doing this. And I told her that the cool thing about this program is in our nursing program, the students are going to have the opportunity to get 3 or 4 certifications. When they finish, they can go, the hospital wants to have that pool of applicants to draw
Absolutely.
from, right? And so they can go work at the hospital, and then the hospital will pay for them to go to college.
Wow.
So if they want to get their nursing, if they want to go to OTC and get their LPN, they can.
Right.
If they want to go to Northwest Florida to get their RN, they can. And the really neat thing is how many students say, I don't want to stay here, I want to move away. Well, HCA has hospitals all over the country and some overseas. So they have the opportunity to not only stay here, but they could go to a different location around the country for their school.
Well,
And
Ms.
the hospital
Branscombe,
will pay.
I just want to say how much I appreciate, and I know my colleagues must as well, the work that you're doing with this. And we all know how difficult it is to get employees, particularly highly skilled
Yeah.
employees. And so I think this meets the definition of a good deal. They're happy and we're happy.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I sure hope this works out.
I do too. And having the AI piece, I mean, I can't tell you, every day we hear from business, all the meetings that we go to, they're chomping at the bit for our employees.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things that we need. We need our students to learn this programming, this Python program. We need to have our students learn this medical. And there's just all across the board, everything that we do, teaching them a skill is important, whether that's the direction they go or not. But these that we know that's the path they want to take it's beneficial for them because their parents don't have to pay for that college, and they're learning a life skill. So,
And it's a perfect example of us giving back to the community, because these individuals have been so supportive of
Mhm.
Okaloosa County Schools through donations and so forth. Now we're able to give back to
Yes.
them and keep these
Mhm.
individuals, these students in our community, and help with employment.
Well,
It's
and
such a critical need.
Most definitely, and that's one of the things we hear at TechMen and EDC meetings. They're trying to attract business to our area.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we have heard many times from when we go to these meetings, when they're having, trying to entice these companies to come here, is the companies are saying they've never seen a school district and post-secondary and industry work together the way Okaloosa County does.
Mhm.
That says a lot for our area. And, they see that we're working at our level to bring our students to them to teach. We want to teach them here and keep them here.
Mhm.
We don't want them to move away. So if we have those jobs here, hopefully more industry will be willing to come into our area.
We were talking before, Mr. Bryant and I, we had our accreditation interview, and this was separate through the phone. And it was interesting that we both used the word teamwork. as our description of Okaloosa County.
I did too.
Did you?
Yes.
I hope they don't think we all got together, but that did just, I mean, it truly is a team with the schools and the community and our parents and just, I think our logo needs to be teamwork up there. So, but thank you for what
You're
you're
welcome.
doing. It's exciting, and I want more of our parents to and our public to hear
Yes,
about
ma'am.
this. 'Cause
I-
we are giving back also.
We want to preach it from the highest mountain for sure.
And
We
thank you for
think-
your leadership in this, Mr. Chambers.
Yeah.
No, I
I love
appreciate
that this
that.
is your vision.
Well, and I just wanted to add, we used to talk about career and technical education being middle school through high school. And now we talk about elementary through the workforce. This AI program also in the agreement, grades 4 and 5, will eventually be a part of this program, go into our high schools and again to the workforce. And I just thank Ms. Branscombe, Mr. Horton. A lot of work has gone into getting to the point where we are. There's still a lot of work to go, but very much appreciated. And then I want to add on the nursing program that was just talked about at Fort Walton Beach. There's also communication with Dr. Stevenson at Northwest Florida State College. So they have an RN program, and what he envisions is our OTC program that has the LPN program, that our students at OTC have the first right to get into the RN program and really create that pipeline so we can put people into our hospitals here. But as Dr. Stevenson and I were speaking, it's beyond that. We have the great program at Crestview. We have the great program of what Ms. Branscombe's talking about that will be in Fort Walton. So now we have a pipeline from our school system all the way to the workforce. So excited about that. Those conversations have just literally started, but it makes me excited when I hear the work that Ms. Branscombe and CTE is doing.
Well, just to feed off what Mr. Chambers was saying about the AI, and I know we're going back and forth, but there's so much that we're doing with both of those. But the elementary piece is really exciting because what we're wanting to do with the University of Florida is make it seamless. So every 4th and 5th grader has the opportunity to learn AI in the way that it needs to be taught, that's within the curriculum. It's not a pull-out program, it's within the curriculum, because the data science piece goes right along with everything that they teach in the school day. But we have to write the state frameworks or get the state frameworks rewritten to make it feasible for us to be able to do that in the curriculum during the day. And that's going to be a hurdle. It's going to be a long, track to do, but it's not unachievable. I think we can get there, and I think that it'll be more beneficial if we do it that way for every student in the state to have that opportunity to touch with that. They're all using it with those little iPads they use. I know my grandkids are, if they don't have their iPads in front of them, they get upset. So they're all using those little iPads.
Put it in mild.
But the fact that we recognize at that early age, you're right, these children, this generation of children, an iPad is nothing to them,
No.
As a matter of fact, my phone, I had to ask, my youngest son to help me navigate through it because it was what he could do,
Right.
Whereas where we were back when the calculator first came out, we were like really excited about that.
The
but
scientific calculator.
Yeah.
Abacus, Mr. Bryant.
I had to learn how to do that too when I was in.
Well, Dr.
but-
White, back in our days, it was like the Etch-a-Sketch was our
Yeah.
schooling.
Yeah.
Or the slide rule.
But you look at it, and I'm so excited about the opportunities that are out there because I think back in November we announced our graduation rates for the county, and that was pretty high, and I think that has to do with a lot of the investment that we put in these programs to help students have a different pathway into life.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see in the next 5 years that number will hopefully be up around 95%, just because we're offering all these great programs out there. So I do have to ask, you did say that we're going to start with Choctaw with this particular. What made us decide to start with Choctaw? Now I know we'll hopefully expand it out.
Yes, we
but-
will. So the reason we're starting with Choctaw is their engineering teacher retired, and they didn't fill the position, so there's a void there. They don't have an engineering program. While they do have the Embry-Riddle, they don't have the engineering AI type of program. So that's why we decided to go there. And then next year, or 23, 24, we will move it to Crestview High School.
Okay.
So we have Mr. Sexton, who is the engineering teacher there. He's going to be participating with us all through our training, so he's going to have a year to get ready. And part of our grant with this through Triumph is renovating his classroom. So the room he's in now is really not conducive to what we want to do. And so this will give us a capability of renovating that classroom and reorganizing it to make it to where, and we need time to get that together. I mean, it's so, you know how it is with working with getting plans and all, it takes time, so it's going to give us some time to get that put together. I would like to give a shout out to Julie Perry and Jeff McGinnis for helping us with the contract and with the budget, because it has been overwhelming, and I'm not a budget person. Right, Julie? So it's been, I really appreciate everything they've done to help with this. It's definitely been a team, because it's not anything any one person could do.
Right.
Well, thank you for all this wonderful information,
Yep.
because the individual I'm thinking of that always puts out such positive news, this is providing him a wealth of information that he can report on, because it benefits our entire
Yeah.
community, all
Well-
of Okaloosa County.
Yeah.
And our
Well,
businesses.
we're hoping that everything works out with our Football and Beach partnership with the hospital, and we will know hopefully more of the final piece of that in the next couple of weeks. We're trying to get a jump on it with the Triumph to get the pre-app, so if we can get approval for the pre-app, then once we have final approval with Football and Beach Medical Center, then we can move forward. So we're just trying to get ahead of that piece of it. So we've got a lot of
Thank you.
exciting things going on. Never
Well-
a dull moment in the CTE office.
Well-
And that's good.
Well, and all of us up here utilize social media to some point.
Yeah.
I will just tell you that I follow you on Twitter, of course, on Facebook. I think y'all are on Instagram. Are y'all on Instagram yet?
I don't really do much on Instagram.
Yeah, but if you want it, all the things that come up on Twitter are
You
usually
repost for us?
negative, but when you see something from yours, it just brings a smile to the face. And
Wonderful.
but y'all do a great job of letting people know what's going on out there. So
We try. I mean, you know, there's so many things happening in the classroom that we don't know about, and we're just like, y'all, please tell us. We want to share all this wonderful news
Yeah.
with you. So when we do get a news like what Emily sent this morning, I mean, you want to shout that kind of
Oh,
stuff. I
yes.
mean, it really is amazing. It's cool
Yeah.
to know that our kids, I mean, that's what, the third or fourth one coming out of
Mhm.
Crestview?
The third off the top of my head.
Yeah.
it's actually the fourth one. I've been keeping track.
right.
The lifesaver track
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, so, and you know, people build programs, so we look for the best quality teacher to help us build those programs, and those are the ones that the kids gravitate to.
Right.
And so we know that there are some of them. Mr. Chambers did a superintendent CTE corner up at the EMR program, and he asked all kinds of amazing questions, and some of the kids weren't even planning on going into the medical field, but they loved the teacher so much that they wanted to stay. One was fashion merchandising or something. Another one was a firefighter. You know, so you've got a lot of, no, it wasn't a firefighter. It was something completely opposite. So, but, you know, those are the kind of things that we get excited about with the quality of teachers we have, because that makes a difference in the classroom. So,
I just go back, that just makes Okaloosa County, our community, even stronger.
Exactly.
So, thank you.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And these teachers that are stepping up and doing this.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
very
much,
much.
April.
Okay, so 8.22 Triumph Gulf Coast pre-application grant funding. 8.23 application for ESSER 2, Get There Faster Career Dual Enrollment Pathways Expansion Grant. All these grants coming through, that's awesome too. So 8.24 curriculum and instruction course adoptions for the 2022 through 2023 school year. And 8.25 budget amendment to the grant award agreement between Triumph Gulf Coast Incorporated and the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida, to develop artificial intelligence machine learning institutes to begin in the 2022 through 2023 school year. All right, so now we're to Section 9, Superintendent's Human Resource Recommendations. Items 9.1 and 9.2 will be informational on Monday night. Employees on administrative leave is 9.1, and 9.2, Deferred Retirement Option Program, the drop is 9.2. 9.3 is employment separations. 9.4, personnel recommendations. 9.5, employee transfers. 9.6, reinstatement reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, medical examination. And then finally, 9.7, leave without pay. Item 10 is a discussion agenda. As of right now, there's no items that have been moved from consent. And now we're to constructions, programs, owners, representatives, business. And typically, I would turn it over to Dr. Kelly, but would it be all right if Mr. Horton comes up and just kind of goes over anything that's out there real quick? I know, not to put
Absolutely.
you on the spot, but I know you're well-versed with this and with all the great things that are going on out there.
Yes, sir. I think Mr. Chambers has me coming up later during his comments, so I'll be brief and connect it
Okay.
to what's on the agenda. You've got 2 letters of completion for projects that have been undertaken by Jacobs Titan under emergency time and materials order. So one of them regarding Etheridge Stadium repairs that have been long in place, and the other one being repairs to roofing at Bay Area office. Both of those were completed, and everything's in good shape, and this is just the method by which the board accepts money that was allocated originally back into the school general capital budget.
All right.
And then the other would be, in great news, is that the GMP for flooring. So this is a sales tax item, and both Davidson Middle School, if you talk to that community, and Lewis School. I played on that floor at Lewis. They're both scheduled for replacement under the sales tax program, and that's an exciting thing. And in addition, Crestview's flooring is getting redone as well under the capital budget.
All right. Thank you, sir. And I know Dr. Kelly on Monday night will give us, always, she does such an awesome job with that in explaining everything. So 11.2, program number 6, task order number 5, letter of completion, time and materials task order, emergency remedial efforts, both design and construction for repairs to Joe Etheridge Stadium at Choctawhatchee High School. 11.3, program number 6, task order number 10, letter of completion, time and materials task order, emergency remedial efforts, both design and construction for repairs to roof at Bay Area office. 11.4, program number 6, task order number 15, GMP for gymnasium floor replacement at Crestview High School, Davidson Middle School, and Lewis School. 11.5, program number 6, task order number 4, GMP for Pryor Middle School kitchen renovation. Item 12, there is information technology seat management contract. We have nothing. And 13, Mr. McInnes, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
No report this morning.
Thank you. Item 14 is superintendent's business. 14.1, out-of-state student trip request. And 14.2, Mr. Chambers, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brighton, School Board. I want to take just a little bit of time to share some information with each of you, and as well as those who are watching. And I'm going to share some, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Horton to come up as well and give some operations updates, and then Dr. Hale to give some human resource updates. And I want to start off with an exciting event that will be occurring tomorrow, and it's our 2nd annual College and Career Fair. And if you remember last year, excuse me?
Saturday. I was going to say,
I was thinking it was Friday already, so it'll actually be Saturday. So for those watching, that will be Saturday, not Friday. But it's the 2nd annual College and Career Fair. There will be about 200 students that will be there, so that's even more than the previous year. About 48 total vendors, and by that I mean community. So there are colleges that will be there, businesses that will be there, and the military that will be there, and giving our students an opportunity to see what's beyond high school. We talk all the time about we want students in Okaloosa County to be prepared to go to college, to go to the military, or go to the workforce. And this is another example of trying to provide our kids opportunities to be able to make informed decisions. It is nice to see when you have these type of events that the community supports it. So you have Costa McDonald's who's providing breakfast. You have Chick-fil-A and College Board who's actually providing lunch. And then you have Buffalo Rock, the corporation, providing soft drinks. So again, a number of individuals coming together to support this excellent event. And I just want to thank the Okaloosa Public Schools Foundation for leading this and providing this opportunity for our students. And before I go on, any questions or comments about that event?
No, I was actually just looking up an article that I read this morning talking about how employment opportunities are so critical. This is the worst it's been since World War II as far as us needing to fill vacancies in the job market out there. And I know I got a call from one of our Buffalo Rock Pepsi vendors wanting to know what they can do to infiltrate the schools to try to recruit people. And I was like, well, what do you know? We're doing a college and career day. give them a call and see if you can't get in. But, you know, it's critical out there, and, you know, hopefully this will help fill the void, especially going in. Ms. Gardner was talking about how she already had to fight the Destin traffic with spring break, but hopefully this will help fill some of those critical needs in our area.
They'll definitely have the opportunity.
And I'm sorry if I missed it. Do you mention where it was going to take place?
Beachside Community Church. And that'll be Saturday, not tomorrow.
And you've mentioned often that they have also been strong partners of ours. I think we had the
They
science
have.
fair recently, and
Yeah.
they've been very supportive.
Very supportive. Secondly, as you know, the accreditation process is underway. I think each of you may have even had conversations with the accreditation team. It was nice to be able to start off the accreditation process by sharing with the team the next generation of Okaloosa schools, our 6 pillars. So we went through that with them and sharing the vision. They've met with school board members, and now they're in the process of meeting with actual schools. They started that yesterday, and they'll continue that today. And then tomorrow, they'll give us a summary recap of basically what their findings are, so to speak. And then it'll take about 30 to 60 days for them to give us the written report of the accreditation review. Absolutely look forward to a favorable review. They seemed very complimentary with the documents that we've already seen them, and with the vision and the feel within the school district. So very much looking forward to tomorrow, and very much looking forward for the final report that will come in 30 to 60 days. I spoke last board meeting about curriculum instruction, and we know, other than safety, the safety of our students' employees, nothing's more important than making sure that we educate our students. And again, preparing them for college, the military, or the workforce. And in today's day and age, we think it's extremely important that we also monitor what's happening in schools. And by monitoring, I mean, paying attention to the excellent instruction that's going on, paying attention to the data when we have these progress monitoring tests, and being able to celebrate the successes of what's happening in our schools. And Ms. Lightbourne and her group do a great job of that. They are in the process right now of doing mid-year data chats, where they look at every school's iReady data. They look at it as a school as a whole. They look at it by grade level. They look at it by teacher, and they even talk about specific students. And it's about making strong instructional decisions that's going to continue to help our students move forward and either grow in grade levels or or accelerate learning loss. Her group has done a great job with that. The principals and the teachers have been a part of that process, so to speak. And again, I just appreciate that dedication and that commitment to academic excellence. Then you look at the school performance plan process. I talked a little bit about this at the last board meeting as well. And the school performance plan is the heartbeat of what happens at a school instructionally. It's their individual plan. We started about 2 weeks ago where we met with instructional coaches to get their input about the upcoming school performance plan. We've met with every principal to get their input as well. And now Ms. Lightbourne and her team will be meeting with groups of teachers where we come to a consensus, so to speak, of what is going to be the school performance plan focus areas in ELA, math, science, and social studies. And then at that point, the schools then individualize it for their own particular school so they can move forward in one direction. And that's a lengthy process. It takes a lot of communication. And I just thank Ms. Lightbourne and her group for really leading that effort. Going to shift to the legislative session. So we have continued to monitor the governor's budget, the Senate's budget, and the House's budget. There's obviously not been a final decision on that yet. We know that the session ends on March 11th, so we'll be looking forward to, after that, what that budget might look like, what are going to be the bills that we know are going to go into law. We're all monitoring that and making sure that we're up to speed on what potentially could occur. But want to let the board know that we're very much paying attention to it. Ms. Perry has already run simulations on potential impact to our school district as it pertains to the budget. So we'll continue to monitor it and be prepared to act, once that legislative session has completed. Next week is a big week when you look at mental health. And we've talked already about becoming even more active as a school district for mental health. And what you will see coming out of Ms. Lightbourne's shop in the months to come will eventually be a mental health campaign where we'll be talking about taking away the stigma of mental health. You know, when you look around the country, there's probably not a family that doesn't have someone affected by mental health. And the more that we can talk about it and help students and help employees, I think it's going to be an even better situation of helping individuals who might be struggling, and they might be able to reach out to somebody. All of us know that we have Hope Squad in our schools. And again, another community effort where business partners, they've helped us fund this. Eglin Federal Credit Union, a huge partner in this. The Impact 100 gave us a $100,000 grant to be able to fund this. And we're blessed that next week we have Dr. Greg Hudnall, the founder of Hope Squad, who will be here visiting Okaloosa County Schools. And he's excited to come. There's a number of events that will be happening starting next Tuesday when he arrives. But on that Wednesday, he'll be meeting with some district staff and community sponsors who have really helped us have Hope Squad in our schools. So that's what will happen on Wednesday. And I cannot stress again, if we didn't have community help with this, it wouldn't be as good as it's going to be. Then when we get to Thursday, he is going to be going over to Santa Rosa and Escambia. Our school district has talked to those two school districts as well, and we've talked about the importance of Hope Squad, how it's helping students. Right now we have it in our high schools, next year, and our middle schools. Next year we'll have it in elementary schools as well. It's already been reported that lives have been saved by Hope Squad. So spreading this over to Escambia and Santa Rosa, we think is important, because if we can save a student's life, that's something that I think that we'd all be very supportive of. Also on Thursday, there'll be some school visits that'll be occurring over to Choctaw, Pryor, Destin, Niceville, Baker, and Shoal River. And Dr. Hudnall and district staff will be meeting with Hope Squad members, both students and our employees who are sponsors, and kind of discussing the successes, what's been going on, and how we can do things even better. There'll be 2 parent nights that will occur as well. One's going to be at Choctaw, and one's going to be at Crestview, where Dr. Hudnall will be meeting with parents and being able to get their input, and also sharing more of the vision of Hope Squad. So it's going to be a busy week. Dr. Kelly will be a big part of this program as well. But again, thank you to Ms. Peggy Brockman, who helped bring this to Okaloosa County. And I can remember over almost 3 years ago talking about this, and now where we are, I'm proud to have this in our schools. And it's one of the pillars that when we talk about being student focused on mental health, this is one of the factors that's going to help us with that. And with that being said, unless you have any questions, I'm going to have Mr. Horton come up and give some updates on operation.
Thanks, Mr. Chambers. Just a couple of topics to brief board members on. As you're aware, the funding's been secured for the COP projects, and that was completed last month. And so Jacobs Titan is in the process right now of soliciting bids, competitive bids for the construction projects that are under the COP program. Those are those multi-purpose buildings, the classroom additions, and the cafetoriums. That bid process is scheduled to end on March 8th. And so shortly after that, there'll be some awards. And so keeping in mind that all of the services under this construction program are competitively bid. We like it when local construction firms bid on the process, and there's evidence that that's what's happening right now. And so the question beyond that is, when is the building going to go up? When is the multipurpose facility going to begin? And we're still in a situation where we're looking at lead times on materials and construction pieces like that. So I'm going to say that you'll see buildings starting to go up probably this calendar year. And it seems like a long time, but it is an involved process when you get in that construction piece. So you might see some site work being done to prep for some of those locations, but the actual buildings going up would be there. So the first bids that were let out were the multipurpose facilities, but within the next 10 to 12 months, all of the bids for all of the construction projects will be out and awarded. So, we spent a long year gearing up through that COP process and getting all those preliminary pieces done, all the engineering and site and drawing work done on the front end, and that took a good period of time. This will also take a little time. If you'll recall, the COP construction projects are expected to be completed within a 3-year time frame. So that's something that we calendar out to make sure that the construction's going on according to that timeline. So it's patience, but it's still exciting.
Mr. Hort, can
Yes,
I
sir.
ask a question of you to maybe the people that are watching this video right now? So the school district, when it comes to building and, anything that we do, we're a little different than, let's say, private entities or even other entities where we have to go, they have to go through all these other hoops and hurdles to get things done. Can you explain real quick how that works for us, where we?
Well, we've got a set of statutes that govern school district construction programs, and Dr. Smith obviously is our district expert on that, and any questions that I can't directly answer today, we'll get him back up and share with you. But the process that we have to go through is a very involved process. And certainly the code for school and school building construction is different in many ways than it is with if you're building a house or you're building a private building. And so we've got to be cognizant of that and plan for that, and it does sometimes take longer. Sometimes different materials are used. So that's one part of it. The other piece is, in all cases where we go out and do construction, building construction, classroom additions, all of that has to be competitively bid. And it's got to be sealed bid so that the individuals who are submitting these are giving us their best pricing based on their desire to do the job. And so when that happens, whether it's a smaller project that the school district works on or a larger project that Jacobs Titan, who's our total program manager, does, that process has to happen. And so it's never a situation where we just decide to build a building and we go find somebody and do it. We always have to put it through a competitive bid process. And then in addition to that, this board had the foresight and the desire to make sure that the pricing that we're provided with from Jacobs Titan is market-based pricing. And so when we receive a guaranteed maximum price, we vet that price with an outside independent firm that tells us that, yes, what Jacobs Titan is telling us and presenting us as guaranteed maximum price is in line with market pricing. And so that's a second layer of oversight, if you will, and scrutiny that makes sure that the projects that we are doing fall within in appropriate guidelines.
And excuse me, and as I remember that price validation, those folks, they're not local, are they?
I don't believe so, and Dr. White said they're not affiliated with the school district, and so they come in and they look at that and give us an independent review of it.
That's right.
Yep.
And thank you for sharing that. I
Yep.
wanted people to understand that there's statutes, and at the very end of it is that we are being the best stewards of the taxpayers' dollars as we possibly can. So.
Yes, sir. And so then along those lines, I think that you can expect to see the construction section of the board agenda over the next several months to be busy, because not only will we be working on these other projects that are already been authorized by the board, but we'll be looking at additional sales tax projects such as the Davidson gym floor and the Lewis floor. So you'll see those there. Obviously, even though we've done many roof replacements already, they're going to see more of those this summer as we have roofing contractors in the area and can bid on some of these jobs. We want to keep them in the area. So it'll be a busy summer for construction, that's for sure.
All right.
Just as a reminder, the Citizens Oversight Committee that was set in place by this board to provide oversight and transparency and accountability to the sales tax process. That next meeting is March 1st at 4 o'clock in this room in Niceville in the boardroom. Is always open to the public, and all of the minutes of those meetings and all the attachments that go to those oversight committee members are located on our capital improvement dashboard on our district website. So anybody who not able to be here can also go review those documents online. And we do welcome, it was mentioned before, Jason Belcher will serve as our chair for this upcoming year, and all of the remaining members will be back for a second year. Ms. Ankers is being replaced by Mr. Belcher as the chair. We greatly appreciate Ms. Ankers, and I know it was mentioned before about probably getting her up here and giving her thanks for the role that she's played. The last thing I want to talk about briefly is focus. And so we actually began our kindergarten and new student enrollment on February 22nd with focus. And we all say to each other as we work through this process, it's not about the bumps that we see along the way, because we'll see them in every district who's transitioned from something, in our case, we've been with for 50 years in our database and our student system. We'll hit some bumps, but it's how proactively and how we address those and how we make sure we follow up with people to make sure that their experience is good. So we've trained our registrars last week in advance of this portal opening for parents, and that mostly impacts the elementary registrars, because what we're seeing now is a lot of kindergarten enrollment, not as much yet for new students. And again, for families that are out there, any student who's already in our system and is already a student in our school district, the parent doesn't need to do anything right now involving focus. We've got some documents on our website and some videos, but our registrars really are the key to this right now in terms of communicating with families if they're having any questions. So we'll be setting up a help desk for folks to call into to answer questions. Right now, it's been generally quiet. It's kind of a slow rollout of it. We'll probably advertise more potentially in the paper about kindergarten registration again to kind of get that moving more and more. But so far, it's working well. I want to show you and I mentioned this before I show you this video, this brief video, but we have iPads set up at every school, a bank of 5 iPads in the front office, in which parents who might not have internet access or not have a device at home, or for whatever reason just want to be at the school, they can come up and do that registration process for their new student right there on the iPad at the school, and the registrar can be right there to assist them. So going well so far, and we're continuing to work through the other pieces, because as you know, the finance piece and the HR piece is all going to be transitioned to focus. So it's a huge undertaking. I told Mr. Chambers I'm about to send an email out to teachers that just gives them some perspective from my perspective about what will be happening, and kind of give them a timeline, because they're so busy right now.
That's right.
They're working so hard. They're getting kids ready for assessments. They're closing out the year. I wouldn't want to be bothered by a lot right now if I was a teacher, but I would want to know that it's going to be fine, and we're going to have these plans in place to make sure that when you start school next fall, you have comfort with what will be a new grade book. We've had teachers, when we first looked at this, Jordan Appleberg came in and was part of the process. We had teachers come in and take a look at this, and when we even went to the selection of focus. So we believe it's a good tool and will provide a lot of great options and opportunities for our parents and teachers and school staffs to interact. So excited about it. And if I can, I'll show you a minute and 28-second video clip that kind of gives a parent introduction to focus.
The Okaloosa County School District is excited to transition to a new school software system, which streamlines communication between schools and families. Until now, our district has operated with a few different systems that are no longer meeting our needs or the needs of our students and parents. Let me introduce you to Focus, a student information system that will go live in the fall of 2022.
Next year, students and parents will register for classes, view class schedules, and check attendance and grades through the Focus app or on the desktop portal. Focus provides a separate portal for parents and students, both of which provide real-time attendance and grade data. Parent Portal is a tool designed to enhance your communication and involvement in your child's education. You will be able to communicate with teachers, access discipline notifications, and view your child's accommodations and modifications in the palm of your hand. Parents registering new students for the 2022-2023 school year will be asked to create a Parent Portal account, but won't have access to the features until September. Information on how to register for your Parent Portal account will be provided soon.
View the rollout timeline, get a sneak peek of what the portal will look like, learn how to use the program, and ask questions on our website, www.okaloosaschools.com/focus. We hope you are as excited as we are about this new software.
And we can provide that link for anyone to share out on their own social media. But Hillary Demers, obviously, is our media and communication specialist, does a great job in promoting good things that go on in the district, and it just does a great job supporting all those initiatives.
Well, if I can comment about focus, I will just say that, Mr. Chambers, we talk about how, the future of Okaloosa schools in the classrooms, elsewhere. Focus, in my opinion, is probably the most important piece of our puzzle moving into the 21st, or moving into the next generation of schools. That's going to truly bring us into this century. And it's huge, and I'm really excited that we made the investment in this, because it is going to be a game changer. I would just say to people who have been on the AS 400 for, you said 50 years, don't be afraid of it. Change is good. Change is our friend, So, but parents too, I think it's going to be just such a good tool for them. I like the idea that they'll be able to communicate with their teachers. Obviously, in the world of education today, that's a big thing with parent involvement. This will just be another tool to have parent involvement with teachers and all. But I'm really excited just to see what Focus is going to bring to the school district. It is a game changer. So,
well, and I will, because Dr. White's mentioned this in previous meetings, but the scheduling, the master scheduling process at a high school is really the large board with all of the names and everything, and it's a very complex process. It is still not simple, but it's drag and drop. And so you're able to take your day at the school with all of your teachers and who they're teaching and what courses they're teaching, and then manipulate those around and get some quick real-time information about what's working and what's not working. So it'll be a different way for our master schedulers to do the course and registration piece for the upcoming years, but I think it'll be a great benefit to them. Save some time.
I just share an observation about master schedule, and folks up here and folks in the audience, they know all this, but not only is it so critically important for our students in terms of classes and instructors, but the master schedule is really where the money in the school system is spent, because we use those dollars to hire professionals to deliver services. And I think it's important that we always remember that. Mr. Horton, I know you know that, because you're the one tasked with going in there and looking at the classes and how big they are and how many teachers we have and those kinds of things. But it's really important, and if this makes it easier and it makes it more efficient, if you will, then it's one of the best things that we could do.
And to your point, it has the possibility to pay for itself.
Awesome.
Ongoing with potential savings in personnel. And it means hiring fewer folks. It doesn't mean letting anybody go, but it means, as Dr. Hare will speak to, having to hire fewer folks as we move through the summer.
Right. Awesome.
and I'm sure the owl mascot is somebody or something we're going to see a lot of over the next.
It's the Focus mascot, but it's branded with OCSD, so we'll stamp our logo on top of it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Horton.
Thank you.
Dr. Hill?
Good morning, everyone. I would too also like to say how excited we are about Focus, as it will automate many of our human resources processes as well. As we continue to put an eye towards innovation and efficiency, Focus will streamline a lot of things from hiring through retiring, and so we're very interested in that. So very excited as well. One of the things I wanted to let you guys know about today, just to kind of tag on to what Mr. Horton was talking about with regard to vacancies and hiring, we are planning on getting ahead of the curve early this year with an early job fair. We have plans to move forward with a new and innovative model, which is still under development, not really ready to unveil all the mechanics of it yet, but as early as April. Some of the things that we do plan to do in that April timeframe is not just hire instructors, not just interview instructors, but also open it up to ed support, because we have an ongoing need for ed support as well. So we're going to continue to market our job fair to all of our positions where we have a critical need. We know that typically in a hiring season, we have, just from an instructional point of view, anywhere from 150 to 250 hires each year. So one of the innovations that we're going to be talking to people about is some employment guarantees with some of what we would call the hot shots, because one of the things that we know is that some of our surrounding districts they jump into the pool a little bit early, and we want to make sure that we are there getting the top talent and securing that as soon as we can. We've got a lot of plans to develop some type of an agreement with them, but also some opportunities to get in front of them. I'm going personally to Northwest Florida State the first week in March to get in front of their students so we can talk to them. I've got a partnership developing with UWF for their Teacher Ready program to make sure that I know who the candidates are for their from their university as well, because we know what the research shows, and we also know what our data shows is that people that come to us with the educational background, it's a shorter trip across the bridge to being a highly effective teacher, and so that's attractive to us. But we also know that over the last several years, our trends have trended towards career changers as opposed to people coming to us with an educational certification, an educational degree. And so it becomes very important that we get the ones early that we are qualified to get. So looking at some new and innovative ways of getting this job fair in front of people and accessing these very important candidates to the future of our district. So more to come on that in the future. We are currently working with our principals to understand exactly what we think their needs are. I'll be working with Mr. Horton and Ms. Perry to find out exactly what we think our needs are going to be moving forward so we can address those as early as possible. So that's the first topic that I was going to talk about. Does anyone have any questions about the job fair? Okay. One of the things that I thought was interesting, just as a piece of information, is that, next month marks the 2-year anniversary of the world changing, so to speak. So we've had 2 years of interesting dynamics with regard to things such as absences, vacancies, and substitute fill rates and stuff like that. I walked in this morning to the Human Resources Department, and Miss Money, who is in charge of our substitutes, is the first one here every day, obviously, because the substitute day starts very early. And the first thing that she looked me at with excitement in her eyes, she said, "Today's the highest fill rate we've had in 2 years." Today we have an instructional fill rate of 83%, which is phenomenal. That's pre-COVID numbers. And it's interesting that you look at 83% fill rate with excitement. And 2 years ago, it was like, how are we going to fix that? But what I want you to know is that we are trending in the right direction. The month of February, week by week, has shown an increase in our fill rate, beginning with the first week in February all the way through now, which to me shows a slow return to normal. We are having more people to work. We're having more people to cover them. The substitutes are working, and quite frankly, I also want to give a kind of a hat tip to the principals, teachers, and ed support staff who have made a way over the last 2 years. And when you look at 83% and the different strategies that they have and the different things that have become part of their normal and expectation, 83% seems really doable. We're going to continue to try to improve that, but I just want to commend the staff that's been making these very low fill rates work when we had a substitute shortage, and point towards the trend that we're moving towards normal. And also, I'm standing in front of a board that's to be commended too for taking the measures that you did to ensure that we were able to attract as many subs as we could and retain them, and also our different policies that were tied to our COVID leave and things like that enabled us to do what we needed to do. So the board's to be commended for that as well. I'm also prepared to talk about it. I don't know if everyone's had an opportunity to look at it yet, but this morning I sent the board members and Mr. Chambers a copy of our most recent audit that we went through in the Human Resources Department. It has to do with our CJIS security audit, which is basically an audit that the FBI conducts, examining our fingerprint background screening processes and the like. And so I have some information about that. I'd certainly be happy to answer any questions, but I thought that this would be a good time to not only, talk about the audit, but how our screening does look, so that it kind of informs your look at this document when you look at it.
Well, if would suit the chairman, just
Yes.
a quick question. So you said, what kind of audit was it?
So yes, sir, it's the CJIS, which is a Criminal Justice Information Services, and that's a department in the FBI, which is also a subsidiary of the U.S. Department of Justice.
Well, why are they looking at us? I mean,
Well, it's a good question. I actually was ready for that question, and I went to our pre-audit document that they sent us because we have the same question. Why are you looking at us? The FBI.
well, I want to know if the FBI was,
Yeah, the FBI CJIS division is required to conduct security audits of each state once every 3 years at a minimum to assess agency compliance with the CJIS security policy. Your agency has been selected to participate because the agency accepts access to national CHRI through your state's CJIS systems agency. So basically, since we are a participant, we were selected this year as a part of their safeguards for their overall program tied to the state. So we were lucky.
But what is this? I mean, it refers to, and I might know the answer to some of these questions, but it refers to what? Background checks, I think you said?
Yes, sir. So this audit was conducted as an evaluation of our criminal justice processes, which include screening and our management of our information and our fingerprinting services. Basically, it inspects 4 different sections, and within those sections there are 28 different components ranging from everything from the oversight of our background screening processes and fingerprints to our fingerprinting, our actual fingerprint and our vendor that we use, to the management of our actual information that we have and the security with which we manage it, including, and I have to go ahead and give a shout out to our MIS department, the storage and the security of our infrastructure as well. So it looks at all of those processes.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you said fingerprinting. So
Yes, sir.
who gets fingerprinted?
So could I just read you a little thing that I drafted?
So the public knows as well. I think
Yes, sir.
I think I know some of these answers. But,
Sure. So this is the process that we have for background screening from Human Resources and in fact the Okaloosa County School District, because our volunteers also go through this
There you
process if there are certain levels of volunteering. So
Right.
prior to employment, every applicant must, among other things, pass a fingerprint screening and criminal background check before accessing any of our job sites, including schools. This is also true of certain vendors, contractors, and volunteers in accordance with the Jessica Lunsford Act.
And I remember one time we even had to have ball game officials fingerprinted.
Yes, sir, they're a vendor.
That's right.
And they interact with our students, so they fall under the jurisdiction of the Jessica Lunsford Act.
A lot
Yes,
of
sir.
folks don't know that.
We utilize FieldPrint for our fingerprint services. They're authorized by the FBI, and they utilize a live scan fingerprinting system that digitally scans and submits fingerprints directly to the FBI. So the days of the old smudgy fingerprint cards are gone. They do digital scanning. The FBI then enters those scanned prints into a nationwide criminal records database, of which FDLE is a part, which we work under the guidance of the FDLE as well, and alerts us to any criminal activity associated with those prints nationwide. So no applicant with a disqualifying criminal history is employed in the Okaloosa County School District. Also, anytime a current employee runs afoul of the law or is arrested, no matter what the arrest is for, whether it be the lowest of misdemeanors through anything that might be considered egregious, since our employment information is in the employee fingerprint information, which is associated with the database, we receive notifications from the FDLE so that we can act accordingly. But I have to say, we usually know ahead of time because our partnership with the Sheriff's Department, they alert us to that fact even before the fingerprint hit comes in when we come in the next morning. So we have a really good partnership with them as well, but we do have that safeguard in place. And an additional safeguard, just for your edification, is that once people are employed, just to be on the safe side, we actually do resubmit fingerprints every 3 years for every employee. So everything is current.
Wow. Is that required, or we just do it?
Well, I can't really speak to whether or not it's a requirement. I know it's a best practice and something that we've
Yep.
just always done. So
Yep.
I don't
Okay.
know that.
Okay, good. Very good.
So that's basically what it is. And I just wanted you guys to
Well, what did the audit say?
So yes, sir, among the 4 sections, 28 separate things they inspected, we had 0 findings.
Well, I guess that's always good if the FBI looks at you and says there's nothing wrong.
Yes, sir. That's the way we read it.
Yeah.
Although it is, it does also validate the processes that
The
we go
system.
through and the attention that we give it.
Right.
Because when you go through these processes, they ask you the whys and the what-fors and the make-sures, and so it gives you an opportunity to just kind of validate and inspect your processes and know that you're not needing to let your guard down.
Right.
Also share what, you mentioned volunteers briefly, what our volunteers are required to do.
Okay, so depending on what you're volunteering to do, and for instance, an overnight volunteer or a volunteer coach would have to go through the
Right.
fingerprinting portion, but people that just visit to show up and help with the elementary school Halloween party, they would not necessarily have to be fingerprinted.
But if they were going into the classroom on a regular basis
Yes,
to
or
assist
if there's
with the
any
teacher.
opportunity, yes, if there's any opportunity for them to interact with a student
On
without another fingerprinted person with them, then that would be a situation where they would need to be printed.
Correct. Thank you.
And the reality is, and you've already alluded to it, concerning arrest, sometimes that happens, but we deal with it, and we deal with it in accordance with law, as we're advised by our good counselor on the procedures and process for that. And I'm pretty sure that all employees know what that's about.
Yes,
Because
sir.
you probably cover that in an employee orientation, do you?
We do. We go through that in our newcomers orientation, and of course, we make that a part of our monthly principals meetings. They then filter that down to their faculties, to their faculty meetings. But it's a very, very commonly addressed topic, yes, sir.
Understand? Yes, sir.
Just one other thing, if I might, and I'll answer any other questions, but I also wanted to mention one other thing. CJIS, which is the Criminal Justice Information Services, they offer trainings that allow you to be able to access types of information, and I think it's worth this board knowing that every single member of our HR department and a lot of the members of our MIS department, the ones who interact with this type of thing, are certified either at the level 1 or 2 level, which is an access control type of a level, or a level 4, which gives you complete access to the information about these employees. So all of our HR people are certified in their area, and so there's no wiggle room, or there's no place for any type of finding in that regard as well. We are secure. And just one more thing, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Mr. Mitchell in MIS, Mr. Keith in MIS, who are very critical to the infrastructure protection. The record-keeping portion, as you know, Mr. Mitchell is also our records custodian, but also Ms. Huffstutler and Ms. Baum, who are actually here today. They're the ones that control the fingerprint security process within HR, and I wanted them to be here so that I could point them out specifically to you guys today, because they do a very good job with this.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else?
Do you have anything else?
I don't.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you for the report. Mr. Chambers?
All right, that's all we have.
All righty. So now we'll move down to Section 15, Board Members' Announcements and Requests for Information, and 15.1 will be the submission of the Peggy Gorday Bruner Award ballots, and school board members, you should have those packages. You'll be asked to turn them in on our section of the meeting on Monday night. And 15.2 will be Board Members' Announcements and Requests for Information. And Ms. Gardner, I'll start with you today.
I don't have anything at this time.
All right.
Thanks.
Dr. White?
Well, no school business, but as an old history teacher, I just like to say to everyone to pray for the Ukraine. And if anyone wants a real-time lesson in Soviet expansion, there it is. You can watch it right now. Thank you, Mr. Bryan.
Yes, sir. And I just want to say, Ms. DeBeers is out in the audience there, and I know when Mr. Chambers was elected superintendent, one of the first things we talked about was how could we sell our district and get it out there where people can see all the great things that are going on out there. And as much as I appreciated Mr. Horton filling in to doing every position that we asked him to do out there, we knew he could not be that person to do what was asked, what I was expecting to see with the district. And so we hired Ms. Demers back in July. And so it's exciting to see what she has been doing with our social media platforms, getting out there and selling our district, because people look, when they come to a community, one of the first things, if it's not the first thing they look at, is our schools. And I was just, telling Mr. Chambers, you go around the state and you see, I get it, the big counties like Miami-Dade, Orange, they can throw all that money into big production things, but we can still do our part to sell the district, to show people what's going on. And I think, Ms. Demers has done a great job of helping us get that message out. I know we're on Instagram now, so I can see all the good things that are going on through Instagram. But I just wanted to personally thank Ms. Demers for all that she's doing, and it's good to see you here this morning also. And then finally, congratulations to my Crestview Bulldog boys basketball team. They made it to the Sweet 16, and if we had been playing on a brand-new basketball court, I think we would have made it to the state. But I will just say that Greg Watson, who's the head coach of the Crestview boys basketball team, has done a fabulous job of being a good coach, a good mentor to those kids. This year's group was a scrappy bunch that played with heart. And I happened to be at the game where they won against, what was the school? Wasn't Leon, it was, I can't remember who the team that they were playing, but they were playing a team that was definitely,
Arnold, maybe?
no, what school did Tim Tebow go to? Nice. They were playing Nice. And they were down by 10 at one point, and they came back and ended up winning that game in overtime. But they played with such heart, and I know I didn't get to go to the game in Ponte Vedra, but watching it on TV, they played with as much heart as they could. But they ran out of gas that game, but it still was a great season for them, and really excited for Crestview High School and their basketball program. And with that, we got item 16, public comment. 16.1, members of the public to desiring to address the school board forum, MIS. 5241, public input and/or discussion of agenda items. This is the 2-minute version of public comment, and I always like to remind people that we give up to 6 minutes for the public to come and speak. And with that, I'll go around the room. Dr. Hale, anything? Ms. Lightbourne, Mr. Horton, Ms. Perry? This meeting's adjourned.